pages. I hope you're doing great, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. So I want to welcome you guys to this special episode. It is a celebration of 400 subscribers on this channel, and we're already close to 500 now. It's insane. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate each and every one of you for all the support, all the likes, all the comments, and all the subs. I've only been doing this for 3.5 months, and I just wanted to ramble and share some Malazan stuff. So I'm really happy, and I'm really happy to do this because it's just so much fun to share this, especially now when I'm on book 7 of Malazan Book of the Fallen, and I'm kind of looking back at it, and it's almost like doing a reread because I listened to the audible chapters here. Just so you know, if you're interested in this series, check it out from the beginning because every episode of this series, a Malazan Talkthrough, is actually covering a chapter of Gardens of the Moon, the first book in the series. So, episode 1 covered chapter 1, episode 2 covered chapter 2, The Siege of Pale, you don't want to miss that. Episode 3 covered that one, and you definitely want to listen to that one before you get to this one. So just want to say that. I'm going to name this episode of chapter 4, since the episodes themselves don't have a name, I'm going to name this one At the Gates. And I also want to say this video series is primarily for those of you who have either finished the series or finished Gardens of the Moon, because I'm going to talk about it in a kind of retrospective way sometimes. I'm going to mention some stuff, but I'm not going to be overt about my spoilers. I'm going to try to not be overt, but I'm still going to mention some stuff. So hopefully you finished Gardens of the Moon. So without further ado, we're going to continue where we left off last time, and a little teaser at the end of the video. I'm going to have a little channel update and some teasers about the channel and future content if you're into that. So let's start. Where were we last time? That's where we were. So we find ourselves basically at a... let's see if we can move this. Let's see. I'm going to move the screen like this. One second, I'm going to move the screen so you can see the comments of the... This is better. So we ended up, we're starting off with Tattersale, Sale, Whiskey Jack, Quickpen, and Kalam and Filler. That they're talking about Hairlock because he was turned into a puppet or a doll, and he is literally a puppet of Quickpen's, which is funny, and is being used after being killed. And he's traveling through the Warrens, and they're trying to find out who's after the bridge burners, basically, who wants them dead. But he's gone crazy, so they're suspecting Tayshian, but they also have to keep Hairlock in check in a way, which is kind of a challenge. They also talk about Sari, and they suspect that she's from High House Shadow. And what's cool about this scene, I really appreciate how Tattersale knows some stuff, and they suspect some stuff, but she doesn't tell them everything, which was super interesting in this scene, which is interesting. What's also interesting in this scene, which might be a spoiler, so don't, you better have read this book, and hopefully Deadhouse Gates, is the way it is made so obvious during this conversation with Quickpen, Kalam, and Terrace. It's so obvious that Kellenbed and Dancer, who are they? Because I think Terrace says something along the lines of, it's that obvious, isn't it? When they talk about the High House Shadow appeared after Kellenbed and Dancer were assassinated, and they seem to be against the last scene. So there's the first hint. It's so obvious, and it's in chapter 4 of Gardens of the Moon, pretty early in the book. So that's a really obvious one. I really, really, really enjoyed this scene. It was fantastically written. I also realized there's so much lore being drip fed to us throughout the books, and a lot of people say Erickson doesn't hold your hand. Like, bro, when you re-listen to the books, there's so much stuff that's like, bro, this is almost like info dumping, but in the best possible way. Like when she talks about Dasim Alter and stuff like that, that is kind of giving you a lot, like maybe too much even. So I really enjoy that. I also enjoyed something that's not in this scene, I think, is the way that it's not mentioned in this companion guide, It's the way that Whiskey Jack is uncomfortable with. Let's see if it's mentioned. No. The way that Whiskey Jack is very uncomfortable with the fact that Sorry might be something more than a regular human being. And I love that because this is the reason why Tyrese actually brings up Dasim Alter and the stuff, those things that I felt were maybe lore dumps. Because Whiskey Jack is trying to make sense of this and hoping that Sorry is human, because he doesn't actually want the gods to be involved, because that's just way too much for him to handle. So he copes with it by saying, he makes it understandable. So he copes with it by saying, like, she thinks that Sorry is human because a lot of humans lose their minds and act inhuman like monsters. And that's, that makes it more simple for him. But Tyrese sees through that. And of course, we know that she's right as a reader. I really enjoyed that scene. And it really, I have to admit, guys, when I read through the first 3 books, I didn't enjoy Whiskey Jack's character until Memories of Ice. And now when I re-listen to it, because for these episodes I just re-listened to this morning, and I'm having my morning coffee, I actually enjoy Whiskey Jack much more, because there are some things that you don't understand as well until you listen or read it in retrospect. And this is just makes his character click more with me, which I really enjoy. So he's trying to avoid that. He's trying to, cope with it by saying, no, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are gods involved or that Sorry is special in any way. She just might be crazy. Mind you, she's a 15-year-old girl. So that's pretty nuts. So I really, really enjoyed that little nuance in the scene that's not in the companion guide. Let's continue. This is really cute. And also, credits to the artists are always in this lower part, so you can see that. That's why I zoomed out the screen. So I fit myself, and I also fit the comments or the notes of this PowerPoint. So let's continue. I love this scene. Guys, I'm probably going to do like Hood's Gate artwork for this scene or for this episode. We'll see what the thumbnail ends up being. I'm a very simple man. I don't edit a lot of stuff, but let's see. So this is one of my favorite scenes from the first book. Not the favorite scene, but one of them. Maybe number 4 or 5. So this is what I love about this book. I thought Perrin died. I thought, like, okay, Malazan is brutal. Perrin is dead. And then you actually, so early in this book, you get to see someone at death's gate. Literally at the gates. But it's not the only instance in this chapter, so that's why I'm naming it At the Gates, because there are multiple. So if you're doing an At the Gates bingo, you better like have a drink or have a coffee or shot or whatever you want to have. So Perrin wakes up dead, which sounds strange, and we realize that the gods or the jesters of chance or the luck gods Oponn, which is a brother and sister, are meddling. And since a god killed him, we get to understand this. Okay, maybe she's possessed by a god. Maybe that was what happened in the first scene. They kind of do a deal with a representative of Hood. I don't know who this representative of Hood is. I think it might be like... I don't think it's the Herald of Hood, but it's some kind of representative of Hood. It's not Hood himself. And they make a deal, and that's someone close to Perrin that will take his place in death. Now, it's unclear for me, is this his father, his mother, or is this actually someone that later in the series might or might not die? Don't know. Hint, hint, maybe a character that's big in Deadhouse Gates. I don't know, but it made me think about that. Maybe it's just his parents. I don't know. I don't remember. But it made me think about that. It would be ironic since, Oponn our siblings. I'll keep it there for those of you who haven't read more than just Guardians of the Moon. But it's really interesting. So there seems to be a system here where, you can argue if someone was killed by a god, the gods can meddle, basically. Which is interesting. Like, what are the rules here? I'm still trying to grasp it, and I'm a book 7, and I'm still amazed by it. and it's good in a good way. And Oponn disappears, and Shadow Throne arrives with two Hounds of Shadow, and this scene was so freaking cool because you're only at the beginning of the series, and you get to see like the inner machinations of how this works. Like you get to see a character get killed. You get to see him grow up, become a soldier, and then he dies, and then you get to see what happens when you die in this world, which is incredible. And then you come back from it too, because he does come back from it. Which is fantastic, and he kind of baits Shadow Throne because Shadow Throne tries to like finish him, and he kind of baits him by saying that someone's interfering with his plans, and he hears a spinning coin. Super duper well done. Like this is one of my favorite scenes, just this scene. And we do get some artwork here, amazing stuff. The Gates of Hell. Maybe I'll use this as a thumbnail. This is really good. This one was really good. And here is a Hound of Shadow, a Shadow Throne. I don't really see Shadow Throne like a Nazgul though. I see him more like that picture, but a better rendition. But they're cool. They're pretty cool. Or like that. That's a better one too. Maybe the Hounds are a little bit too big though. They're supposed to be like horse-sized. All right. So Parent wakes up. And he's kind of being healed, and what I love here is that the Warren of Denwell is kind of like, even if you heal someone physically, they have the trauma, so you need to heal their body and their soul, kind of in a way, which is a super interesting concept that we'll come back to later. So I really enjoy that, and Mallet gets to heal him like more, and he gets carried in by the bridge burners, and I love the fact that Kalam and company come, and the guards here are like they tell them that they're bridge burners. The guards are like, we haven't seen you if that's what you want. So I love the fact that the Malazan soldiers seem very like independent in a way, like there are different factions, and the soldiers are encouraged to think for themselves basically and be free, and it still manages to that army still manages to work well, which I kind of love. All right, so Tattersail is doing a Deck of Dragons reading, and basically she does a reading where she foresees that Animander Rake will have a confrontation with High House Shadow. It specifically seems like he's against the Hound of Shadow, and I just love these, especially in retrospect. They are so good. Like these scenes, if they make a Guardians of the Moon movie, oh man, I'm gonna so enjoy these scenes of the card readings. They're so freaking good, and I would like a Deck of Dragons. Guys, wouldn't you like a Deck of Dragons? Shouldn't an artist, like a really good Malazan artist, or a couple of Malazan artists get together and just do a Deck of Dragons? Like, please. It would be so cool. It would be so incredible. I like this reading. It's just, more Animander Rake and High House Shadow, and you don't even, they're not even in it, literally. They're in the card reading, but it's still so cool. Quick Ben comes back and tells her about, Hairlock coming back from Shadow, which is interesting. And then we have Whiskey Jack and Fiddler, and this is basically a scene where they're kind of gonna be on their way to Darujistan pretty soon. You get to see Dujek One Arm, and there's kind of an interaction here that's gonna lead to the next scene. Basically, I didn't have many notes here, to be honest, but that's supposed to be Dujek and Whiskey Jack, and that's supposed to be Moonspawn behind them. Let's see. Oh, we're going quickly here. We're going real quick here. Let's see. So back to Tattersail, Quickben, and Kalam in Tattersail's room. And they sense that Hairlock is being chased by the Hounds of Shadow because, the thing is that he has kind of... Hairlock is on Shadow Throne's trail, so I guess Shadow Throne is trying to, doesn't want to be interrupted or followed, whatever he's doing. So that's the punishment, to send Hound of Shadow after him. Mallet tells him that Captain Perrin has survived. They thought he was going to die. Hedge is watching over him, which is really cool in retrospect once you know all these characters. And they suspect Sorry. And Tyresail will stay with Perrin, and the rest of the squad will head to Darujistan, which is what's going to happen now. Got the corals incoming. So the Black Moranth are arriving on their corals. And I love a scene here where Whiskey Jack interacts with the coral and kind of like looks at it, kind of like handling a horse. I love that. And he thinks about the Empire's alliance with the Moranth because it's changed due to, you know, them getting these corals and these what do you call them? Munitions, these bombs basically, which is really freaking cool. And then they also think about Sorry because she's back. Sorry is back, the 15-year-old murderer that like cut the balls and dicks off of enemy soldiers while laughing. I still have questions about this part, like with Sorry, and I'm on book 7. So this is just how good this series is. That some stuff you get to know, some stuff you get to understand, some stuff you like. Am I gonna get a reveal? Yes or no? Is it ever gonna come? I don't know, but it's not that important because I'm just enjoying the process of reading the series, and the things that are happening are more than enough. So the bridge burners are on the way to Darujistan, which is gonna be the focus of this book. And I just love these opening chapters. It's just so good. I would say these 4 first chapters are like the opening of Gardens of the Moon, kind of in a way. It sets a tone and it opens a book, and after this chapter, it actually also transitions into book 2 of Gardens of the Moon. After this chapter, that's when you get into the real stuff. But this is the real stuff too. I love this part. Let's continue. This is not this scene, but it's the coral that the Moranth are riding in some Moranth, and they're on a rooftop in this scene, but this is what it might look like. Imagine that on a rooftop. And then we have the last scene. So basically the bridge burners are on their way to Darujistan and coming back to Tattersail's room. We have Tattersail, we have Perrin recovering from his wounds, and we have a Hound of Shadow on his way to eat the little doll Hairlock that's been messing around in the Warrens, and Hairlock wakes up and he's in a box or something like that. So Hairlock shows up in Tattersail's room, and one of the Hounds of Shadow is there. He is on location, like in Pale, because they're in Pale, of course. But he's not there, but he kind of sniffs his scent, and we get told that he comes through a warren because he's all dry, like his fur's all dry, and it's been raining, so you know he came from somewhere else, which is a really cool scene. Guys, if you want to re-listen to this scene, I highly recommend it. Like, it was so good. It was like a movie, like the end of a movie, the way this chapter ended, like a really good cliffhanger. Man, these 4 chapters could be a movie, a really good movie, or maybe a series of movies. Anyways, so the Hound is kind of running towards him, like towards this place where they are hanging out in this room where they're recovering, and he's killing soldiers left and right. And Hairlock is trying to hide in a box. Tattersail is using magic to protect herself, but gets knocked down by the Hound of Shadow because it's the oldest thing she's ever seen. And she is old already. Tattersail is like 218 years or something like that. This Hound is the oldest thing she's ever seen. Hairlock uses magic to blast the Hound of Shadow. And Perrin appears because he's recovering, but he stabs Gear, the Hound, with his longsword. And then Hairlock tries to steal the soul of the Hound, but Tattersail interrupts that, which is really interesting. Like, what would have happened if he managed to do that? And the Hound escapes. So, a lot of action here. Perrin gets to stab a Hound of Darkness. Hairlock is pissed because he couldn't steal his soul. What would that be? And he understands the influence of Oponn, because when Perrin stabs the Hound, he's asked, like, how could you do that? And he's like, luck. And we previously mentioned that he named his sword after Oponn, which Oponn also say when he's at the gates of death. So this is all super interesting. And Perrin and Tattersail end up hearing the spinning coin. Oh, I love this chapter. Oh, this was so good. This was such a blast to listen through again, guys. So if you have access to the physical book or the audiobook, it's worth it. I would say the audiobook is worth listening with 1.5 speed because I don't enjoy the audiobook narrator for the first 3 books. But if you do it 1.5 speed, that's perfect. That's worth your time. That's worth your energy. So that was basically it, guys. This was a quicker one than the other ones, I think. A little bit quicker because I just wanted to condense it more. A little bit of channel updates. Once again, thank you for all the subscribers, all the support for my channel. I'm really honored and happy about that. That gives me inspiration and motivation to continue. A little bit of channel teasers and updates. I do a lot of shorts. So most of the content of this channel is YouTube shorts, like 3-minute videos, super short, super quick. And for me to make it sustainable, because I've been doing this daily for months, I don't write scripts. I do everything on the fly right now. I just listen to the chapter and do some notes. So guys, I just want to be genuine. It's not because I'm getting brownie points for it. It's because it's sustainable for me. I'm just ranting and talking and having fun. That's all it is. And I realize that, there's some stuff that should be on the internet that's not on YouTube. I wanted like a Malazan bestiary, like a compendium of animals. So I did that. I made a shorts video. You can check out my channel. I have made playlists for everything. So everything is sorted, like going to a library. And if you just check out the Malazan bestiary, I think I've done 8 videos this far of 8 different creatures. And I'm going to continue, for as long as the series has new info about that. So the first episode was on the Bedouin, the second on the Bokarala, the third on the Coral. So I go through like a 3-minute episode for each monster or animal and tell you about it. I'm gonna do future series about warrens, about races, about demons, different demons, about different like special, unique, legendary weapons, maybe some characters too. So there are gonna be many series, and I've already done like several series. I have a philosophy series. I have a series called Erickson Broke My Mesla Heart. You can guess what that is. Like sad scenes. I have a lot of different series here on the channel. You can check it out in the playlist section if you want them all put together, or just subscribe to the channel and you'll get daily uploads, because right now I'm planning daily uploads at least until the end of this year, and I'll probably continue because this is so much fun. I'm having such a good time. And yeah, that's basically the teaser for the future of the channel. Things are growing, things are happening, and at this rate, I'm probably going to be covering the entirety of Garners of the Moon because, 3.5 months, and so many people have tuned in. We're probably going to keep upping the number until we get to 2,400, which would be the 24th chapter and the final chapter of Garners of the Moon. So guys, appreciate your time, and I hope you appreciate mine. Just like the Bridge Burners, or just like the Malazan saying, what is it? For the mages and the soldiers. Shit, I lost it. It's like a mutual thing, I forgot. Guys, what is the word? What is the quote? It's not first and last out. That's a Bridge Burning thing. It's always an even change, always an even trade, or always an even exchange. That's what I say. So it is an even exchange because I do these videos. I have a lot of fun with it, and hopefully you get something from it, and I get it back from you, which I really enjoy. And I also want to say I love sharing art of Malazan artists. So if you're a Malazan artist, let me know. Send a link to your portfolio to me. If you want to do stuff that hasn't been done in the Malazan artwork section, do it. There's so much missing. So a little shout out to all the Malazan artists out there. Please do it. And if I ever use your art, I will do all the stuff that, I will write the name of the artist. I will do a link to the portfolio. I've already started doing that in my videos because I have no monetary interest in this channel, guys. This is just me. I have one friend who's reading Malazan and he has kids, so he doesn't have time to talk. This is me, my version of having a book club, basically. I just want to share what I'm reading and spread the love for this series because it's so incredible and it's so much fun, and just make it more alive for everyone out there. And I hope we can have a thing that keeps it going. And maybe you're interested in doing a Malazan channel yourself as a listener or a subscriber, or maybe you just want to support and write really well thought comments, because I gotten some really good comments too. So that was basically it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. We are only 25 subscribers from getting chapter 5. And then I will do that. So it'll probably come very soon, like in a week or two, I'm guessing, at this rate. Thank you for your time, and I feel super happy to have gotten this far with this channel because I'm having a blast, and I'm glad that I'm not just doing it alone into the void of the internet, but there are actually people here that are enjoying it with me. So thank you for coming along my journey, and I will follow along with your journey as well. Take care.